Demon Slayer currently has a pretty big problem, one that is slowly destroying the competitive community, and that problem is called demons. It was months ago, and this guy already knew something about it. In my opinion, demons was a bad move. Now, copy pasta aside, he was onto something. This problem has had a few top-level players quit the game already, and Korea even banned a few characters like Susamoru and Yahaba. And no, it's not because in Korea they have banned jumping. They've actually made jumping legal since the last patch, which just goes to show how good of a patch that actually was. Now, according to the Koreans tier list, Susamoru and Yahaba are the strongest characters in the game. And while I don't necessarily agree with that, I mean, clearly I put Yahaba in C tier. We'll definitely talk about that. I completely understand why they banned these characters and why a lot of players in Europe and North America are thinking of banning Susamoru, Yahaba, and Enmu. And it's not that they're the strongest characters in game, it's not that they're broken, it's that they make the game extremely boring. And at the root of this problem is this character's playstyles. They're zoners. Now, zoners are usually one of the most hated archetypes in fighting games. That's true for 2D fighters and arena fighters as well. You want to get in their face and deal some damage, and you're constantly stopped by projectiles that just won't let you advance. That said, there's usually a weakness to zoning. You're usually able to either dodge the projectiles while approaching, you're able to jump over them. Basically, there's a way to get past zoning if the opponent is just doing the same thing over and over. And that's only partially true in Demon Slayer. In the Storm games, zoning wasn't this big of a problem because most projectiles had a major weakness. They would all get deleted by a chakra dash. In Dragon Ball FighterZ, you have something similar. Low priority projectiles all lose to super dashing, and that forces the zoner to play smart, to be ready to react and counter your approach. In Demon Slayer, that's just not the case. There's no such thing as a low priority projectile, which means you can't dash through them or bypass them in any way. You have to manually dodge them so you can attempt to punish. And playing like this, in this game specifically, just makes it boring. Here's how I usually beat demons. When I'm playing against Susamoru, Yahaba, or Enmu, there are two main things that I change about my playstyle. The first one is neutral. I never try to win neutral with my active character. It's too easy for demons to zone you out. Approaching is nearly impossible to do. But they have a big weakness, which is your assist. Every demon projectile targets your main character. So if you call an assist and move out of the way, no projectiles will stop that assist. They have a free lane to hit your opponent. And this means that if they decide to jump and try to zone you, they're gonna get hit by the assist. So this will force them to play defensively and either try to dodge the assist or block them or parry them. What makes this playstyle boring is that you often don't have your assist available. So you're stuck dodging demon projectiles until that cooldown is done. You pretty much can't play neutral until you have an assist. And this game of waiting for that assist to come back just isn't fun. Another thing I usually do against demons is something I call hounding. It's not an official name, it's just what I call it in my head. Hounding is when I try to stay at a safe distance from the demons, but not too far away. I want them in range of my abilities. I do this with Rengoku usually, but it works with characters like Nezuko or any water wheelers in the game. The idea is to stay close enough to them and do nothing. You're waiting for them to jump or try to zone you in some way so you can dodge their projectiles and then jump in there with a tilt skill. The problem with hounding though is, once again, you're waiting for your opponent to mess up. You're waiting for them to try to zone you, to throw jumping projectiles or something so you can punish that attempt. At the same time, you can't get closer to them because that wouldn't be safe. They can punish if you get too close. And if you pull the trigger too soon, if you try to approach them and they're doing nothing, you might be the one that gets countered. And if the demon player knows that, they will just never make a move. Which means you're forced to do the previous thing of waiting for your assist to come off cooldown so you can approach safely. The point is, playing against demons ends up being too risky, so you let your assist do the work for you. The problem being, you don't always have your assist, so it becomes a fight where you're constantly waiting for a cooldown. Because of this massive advantage for demons with zoning, because playing neutral against them is risky, very often you will see them dominating a match, which is why it's so important to gain a health lead against these demons. Once you gain a health lead, they are the ones that need to approach you, and a lot of these demons are really bad at approaching you. Let's talk about Yahaba. This is exactly why I think Yahaba is a C tier. First of all, he shares all those weaknesses. If he jumps, you run out of the way and call your assist, and yes, he deals a lot of damage, but to go for that damage, he's always spending meter. And the chances are you're gonna see it coming, and if you do, you're gonna block it and he spent meter for nothing. You only need to get him twice. The first time, he's probably gonna use his demon bars to escape, and the second time, you're gonna deal so much damage that you're gonna have a health lead, and then you can wait for Yahaba to come to you. And Yahaba sucks at coming at you. Now, he's not only weak to this playstyle of calling your assist and all of that, a lot of demons can also exploit some of Yahaba's weaknesses. If a demon has a long-range tracking ultimate, they can completely shut down Yahaba. I was watching Q play against Nikito in a tournament the other day, and this is a great example of what Yahaba does to you. Yahaba is the #1 character in this roster that forces you to play differently. You can't just play the same way you always play the game. You gotta counterplay with every move you do. As a demon, Q likes to save his meter to regenerate health. In general, that is the right thing to do, but in this matchup, he should be using his ultimate. Q was able to find a few weaknesses during this match. He started punishing zoning with his demon skill whenever Nikito was on the ground. That is a great option that Q just found mid-match and started countering Yahaba that way. But whenever Nikito jumped and zoned from the air, Q didn't know what to do. Rui has a tracking ultimate. You just ult here and win the round. Or you use that to gain a health lead and then Yahaba has to approach you instead of you risking approaching him. Can Yahaba dodge that ultimate attempt though? Yes and no. He can dodge after throwing one arrow in the air, but if he throws a second one, he is stuck there until all of these come out. So a well-timed ult will be inescapable. And this is part of what makes Yahaba a lot weaker than Susamaru and Enmu in my opinion. Once you get the health lead on Yahaba, it's really hard for Yahaba to reach you if you just decide to play it safe. That's what you have to do. You have to play lame. You have to let them risk while you sit back, dodge projectiles, or just block their approach, waiting for a timeout. Because if you choose to keep approaching the zoners because, hey, I'm winning, I want to get this round, you've already fucked up. It's risky for you to approach, you gotta let them come to you, and that's what makes the game boring. Now that's all well and good for Yahaba, but let's talk about Susamaru. Susamaru doesn't have a lot of these weaknesses because she's extremely mobile. Even while jumping, she's got a tilt skill in the air that will often dodge assists. And don't even think of throwing those tracking ultimates because she will most definitely dodge them. Susamaru's weaknesses are on her guard skill, which yes, it is plus on block, but if you push block it, you can actually punish that with some characters, or at least have the advantage afterwards. And Susamaru always has to gamble meter if she wants to deal meaningful damage. She can zone you for free, but what she gets is a tiny combo. The Susamaru damage comes out when she starts combos with guard skill or tilt skill, and if those are blocked, you gambled your meter wrong. She's definitely strong, but still has some downsides that you can exploit. That said, you gotta play the same lame game that you play against Yahaba. You gotta let your assists do the work, and if you got a health lead, you gotta wait for her to come to you instead of risking approaching. Susamaru is a lot better at approaching you though, which makes her a lot stronger in my opinion. And finally, let's talk about Enmu. With Enmu, you just gotta be a better player. Enmu is top tier for a reason. Not only does he have the jumping projectiles, he has that really annoying slow projectile with insane tracking and long-range normals that just dominate the neutral. Now, should these characters be banned in tournaments? That's up to each community. I don't think that's for me to say. But if Korea banned them for being too strong, that's just something that I personally don't agree with, and looking at the tier list, that might just be the case. But if these characters are banned because they make the game extra boring, then yeah, I can sort of agree with that. To me, that's exactly what the demon problem is. They make you play in a way that's not very exciting to either play or even watch, and it's slowly killing the competitive game. I don't know if banning these characters is the right solution though. What would be great is a patch. I think the previous patch was really good, and it tackled one of the main issues that the game had, which was running away. And they did it in a really clever way by adding landing recovery after an air dash, and buffing the chase dash across the board. And back when that patch came out, this demon problem wasn't as big as it is right now. Rui and Akaza had been out for a while. I think the zoning on Rui is very fair in my opinion, because at least he has to spend meter to zone you. Part of the problem is that these new demons can just zone you without spending resources. And Akaza is a rushdown character. Even if he got buffed recently, he's not as annoying to fight because the Akaza player has to take chances. They have to close in the distance, which makes them vulnerable if the player has the right read. Susamaru and Yahaba had been out for a couple of weeks when this patch hit. That was not enough time for this problem to become as big as it is right now. So I have faith. I have faith that they'll see this issue and tackle it in the next patch. I don't know what the solution would be. You can't simply nerf zoning when some of your character's whole thing is zoning. That would just skill some of these characters. And I think they're pretty balanced for the most part. They just promote a really boring playstyle. It's a very hard problem to solve, but one that I hope they're able to figure out. I love that these characters play very uniquely. They each have their own playstyle. They bring new gimmicks to the game, but unfortunately, these gimmicks are making the game boring to play. So please fix. That's the message. And as always, thank you very much for watching. My name is Globku, and I'll see you next time. Bye!